I hope you're enjoying your dinner. I'm going to go ahead and get started. While I'm talking, feel free to grab cupcakes. Feel free to go get seconds, refills in your drinks. You're not going to bother me at all. I'm going to kind of fill some time here while you're doing that, and we're getting settled in. I'd like to welcome a few special guests tonight with us. Tim Dobie with USA Softball. Tim's with us tonight. Tim's the commissioner for the Carolinas for USA Softball. Mike Van Horn and Jenna Van Horn. The Junior Olympic Commissioner for USA Softball, the Carolinas, and founder of Tier 1 Fast Pitch. Also with us, and they're all up here at a table hiding. But Chad Harding with Upper Deck Sports is with us. So Upper Deck has done our gear and apparel and uniforms for a few years. So Chad is with us tonight. And last but not least, someone you'll hear a little bit from later, Coach Meredith Mills with Barry University in Georgia is with us, and she's going to be talking to us here in a little bit. Also, like to do some thank yous. So thank you to AVS and the staff here. They've been great. I don't see any of them in here. They're back there working, but they've been great to deal with. Those of you who have been here for a few years know we've moved from the church to the Worth Street Center, now to AVS. Over 220 people here tonight. So we decided to move here and try to make this a little bit more special. Thank you to Academa. So Academa is a baseball glove company, a glove brand, a baseball brand. I've known the owners for, I don't know, since college. They've been great. They've always been willing to support me and our girls over the years as much as they can, being a mainly baseball glove company. But they provided the glasses that the girls got tonight. So big thanks to them. Emily, I mentioned Emily earlier. Emily's my oldest. She's the one roaming around taking pictures. So after this is over with, she'll have a week or two to make some edits. And then the pictures will all be made available from the senior signing that we had, as well as the dinner. So that'll be made available to everybody. So, if you're following the remind, you'll get it that way. And that reminds me, that's why I paused. I had a couple people ask me, so those who asked, the remind again for the families is at KOFAMI. Okay, so at the grocery store. And then last but certainly not least Ricky and Melody. Where's Ricky's table? Without Ricky's vision 26 years ago and Melody's patience for 26 years, we'd all be wearing a different jersey, and I just don't think that'd be quite as cool. So big thanks to Ricky and Melody. So if you don't mind, I'd like to give all these a big hand, please. So a little update as just kind of bring everybody up to speed. If you're with us last year, it was a special year. 2024 was our 25th year as an org. If you were at the dinner last year, you witnessed us bring Ricky and his first coaching staff from 1999, and we recognized them. That was a really special moment. And if you were here, you heard us talk about quite a few things we had kind of in the works. This year we've expanded to Ohio and Pennsylvania. We have teams in Ohio and Pennsylvania. We probably, if things go well, we'll have some teams in Virginia by the end of this calendar year. Some teams are looking at moving over at the end of the summer, so that's exciting. Officially this year, I mentioned Stuart. So Stuart has assumed the role of Director of Collegiate Recruiting. So, Stuart's really been alongside Ricky and I over the past couple of years, really kind of absorbing everything that he can from a recruiting perspective. And so this year, Stuart has officially taken that role. So a lot of you have already started to hear from him for camps, recruitings, emails, lending a hand in the recruiting process. We also now host regularly scheduled seminars for recruiting in the org. Our next one is scheduled later in January. So again, another reason to be on their mind. But that's an official kind of thing that we kicked off this year. We have rolled out a database to all of the coaches, hundreds and hundreds of videos, practice plans, charts. Over the years of I'd say a lot of it is years of Ricky's information and years of me going to the FCA convention, and we've taken that and put it in a Google Drive, and coaches have access to all of it. So we rolled that out this year. I think that's helping the coaches, or at least I hope it is. If they're taking advantage of that, there's a lot of really good stuff in there to help these young ladies continue to develop and learn and progress. Earlier this year, the Knockouts became an official partner with Rawlings, the parent company of Easton. So that's exciting. That's just an opportunity for us to get additional discounts as we continue to grow, but without being a sole source to Easton. So that's pretty exciting. A lot of these other orgs may do a deal like that here and there, and then everybody's got to change everything they have, and you got to buy everything all over, and that's not what we wanted. So that was pretty exciting for us. And then the last thing I wanted to kind of mention real quick, we mentioned Tim and Mike. Thanks to USA Softball, we have started hosting our own showcase tournaments. If you have not been to one, they're pretty cool. They're pretty fun to go to. They're right down the road. So far, they've been right down the road in Burlington and Greensboro. They've been successful. I think there's only a few spots left in this July's tournament already. Last year, we sold out the July tournament by the end of January, and I think October's was sold out by February. Right now, we are adding a third this year. So we moved October to September, and we've added one in November. So that would not be possible without these guys and their support. And, we use that to keep our team fees down for the coach, for the teams to join the org. We're fractions of what any other organization is really charging right now, and it also really helps provide a stipend, and what kind of subsidizes this, because if you've ever been to any of these, this is a lot more than $15 a person to put on. So we use that for this. We use that for various things throughout the year. But big thanks to these guys for that, because that's really taken off for us. And we're looking at in 2026, we're looking at trying to host one or two up in Ohio with our Ohio teams as well. So now I'm going to do a few drawings. So the athletes, when you came in, you got a blue ticket. Was that right? Athletes got a blue ticket. Coaches, you got a yellow ticket. Did any athlete not get a ticket when you came in? Did any coach, assistant or head, not get a ticket? Can you grab yellow for Chartreuse? Anybody else? Any other coach, assistant or head coach, not get a ticket? All right. So what we're gonna raffle off. So for the athletes, we have two drawings. One's for a new cryobat of any size. Okay. The second is for a Meta 33-inch drop 9. Okay, if that's too big for you, you can wait. You can grow into it, as my dad would always say. You'll get there one day, or whatever you want to do with it. But the first one we're going to do is a cryo bat of any size. And Kim, you're going to come draw. Okay. So so this is for the cryo bat of any size. $349,155. So which one? Are y'all fighting over it, or who has the ticket? Viv has the ticket. Okay. All right. Oh, that's right. That's right. Maddie's, yeah, that's right. Maddie's in there. Yeah, that's right. All right. So Vivian, good job. Congratulations. All right. So the next one is going to be for a Meta 33-inch drop 9. 349184. All right.
Hey, Taylor, you might want to ask her if she'll switch with you.
I might be retired when she goes to that.
We'll talk later. We'll talk later. All right, congratulations. So, all right, so for coaches, we have a Mizuno ball bucket bag, I guess you call it, organizer, whatever goes over the bucket. We have one of those, and then we have from Academa, it's been ordered, it's on the way. We have a custom Knockouts wooden coach's fungo bat. That's not here, but the bucket bag is. So the first one we'll draw. Actually, I'll tell you what we'll do for the coaches. The first drawing gets to pick which one they want, and the second one will get whatever the first one didn't want. So. 749054. You got the bat. You got the bat. All right, Chad wants the bat. So the next one will be for the Mizuno bucket bag in the lobby. Kelly's got it. There it is. Ooh. Seven 749061. All right, here we go.
No, the first one. You're 5'4".
We don't trust that table. Good thing. Hey, why don't you buy me a lottery ticket on the way? Yeah.
All right, so I'm going to move on to talk about our graduates. So over the years, my team has given me a hard time for my emotions, and they've dubbed "crying with Curtis." That's a phrase. I am not crying tonight. It's too early for that. We'll wait till July. But if I were to pretend that this was just another year for me, I'd be lying. I've coached some of these ladies on the Cole team for many, many, many years. And there's others on other teams that over the years, whether it be, advice to them for recruiting, advice to the parents, questions, just leading the org, they become family. And I think Ricky and many other coaches here can say the same about girls on other teams. But when you put the time that we put into the teams, into the organization, everybody kind of becomes extended family. I cannot express, and we actually talked about this a little earlier with Coach Mills, I can't express how excited I am for what lies ahead for you, ladies. A lot of times somebody will ask me, like, hey, what do you think about Courtney, heading off? What do you think about these girls? What are you going to do next year? And I'm like, man, I'm excited. And it doesn't mean that I am wishing that away. But it's because, I've had my college experience. I've had that time. And I know what lays ahead. I know what comes. I know what's coming for you. I know what you've got in front of you. And it's a time that I hope you cherish. I know the adventure that's in front of you. I know the friendships you're going to make. I know you think right now that your friends in high school are your friends that you're gonna have forever, but there's a really good chance that some of your best friends are still out there. And I know that, and because of that, I'm just excited for you. I'm really excited about what's in front of you. You're going to have trials. You're going to have hurdles and potholes and things in the road. But I think that you'll learn from those. You'll grow from those, and that's going to help make you who you're going to be. And I look forward to seeing you in 6+ years and getting the baby announcements and the wedding announcements and all those things. You come back and you talk about these things. I mean, last time we had some of my other graduates, Chris's oldest daughter, Maddie, come back. She was like, "Man, do you remember that time I missed that ball in left field and you screamed at me and you yelled at me?" I said, "Well, that's because you were being lazy." The stories, some that I forgot, the stories that the girls come back with. So I look forward to that. So I'm excited for you. So I want to say congratulations to you. Those who came a little right before 5 o'clock, we actually had signing tonight or today at 2:30. So from 2:30 to 4, all of our seniors came. And we had a signing ceremony for them. So what I'm going to do, I do want to recognize them here. I'm going to go through everybody's name, and you can sit where you're at. And then when we're done, I'll ask you to stand and let everybody recognize you. So starting with the Knockouts Coal team, and not all of our players are here, of the whole list here. But starting with the Coal team, all of the Coal 2025 graduates, I'm saying this now because I don't want to say it every single one of them. All these young ladies will be going to play college ball at the next level next year. Paige Barrymore will be attending Lander University in Greenwood, South Carolina. Vivian Billiard will be going to Berry University in Miami, Florida. Kaylee Bolding, KK, will be going to Limestone in Gaffney, South Carolina. Courtney Cole will be going to Virginia Wesleyan University in Virginia Beach, Virginia. Addison Laney will be going to Meredith College in Raleigh, North Carolina. Emma Parnell will be going to Guilford College in Greensboro. Cameron Perkins will be going to Roanoke College in Salem, Virginia. Kyla Shiflett will be going to Newberry College in Newberry, South Carolina. And Sarah Walker will be going to Limestone University in Gaffney, South Carolina. So that's the Knockouts Coal team. For the Knockouts Martinez team, these 3 young ladies will also be going to play college ball. Michaela Barger will be going to Guilford College in Greensboro. Riley Hill will be going to Methodist University in Fayetteville, North Carolina. And Brianna Spate will be going to Montreat College in Montreat, North Carolina. For the Knockouts Morris team, Geneva Yao will be going to Pfeiffer University in Missenheimer, Richfield, to also play college ball. Knockouts Payne, Joan Stewart cannot be with us tonight. Her future is undecided, but she's a 2025 grad. For the Knockouts Ripperger team in Ohio, these 3 ladies will be going to play college ball. Renee Little will be going to Ohio Wesleyan University in Delaware, Ohio. Haley Martin will be going to Terrace State Community College in Fremont, Ohio to play ball. And Chloe Scott will be going to the University of Northwestern Ohio in Lima, Ohio to play ball. Knockout Smith team has 2025 graduates. Leah Frick will be going to Stanley Community College in Albemarle, and Gracie Thomas will be going to Stanley Community College in Albemarle as well. Knockout Strider team, Emma Burke, is to be determined. She is waiting. Emma is up for the Park Scholarship at NC State, and so she's waiting on news for that to decide what she's going to do. And for those of you who don't know, or for those of you who are state fans or state grads like myself, that's a really big deal. So hopefully she gets that, and mom and dad can go get a beach house or something with all that money, they'll say. So, ladies, if you'll stand up, I'd like to give you all a round of applause and congratulate all of you. Thank you. Now it's time for what everybody really came for. Our guest speaker today is a special person, Coach Meredith Mills, a graduate from North Carolina Wesleyan. Coach earned her bachelor's degree in psychology. While completing her degree, she was a 4-year letter winner of the softball team. She took home USA South first team all-conference honors twice, while also earning the team MVP 2 years in a row. After graduation, Coach returned to her alma mater as an assistant coach. Here she helped NC Wesleyan win its first USA South regular season title since 1996 and led them to an East Division title in 2021. In 2021, later in that year, Coach was named as the head coach at Greensboro College. In her 3 seasons at Greensboro College, the program experienced an historical run, including appearances in the regional and national rankings, and a program best 33-10 record in the 2023 season. Earlier this year, Coach Mills was named as a new head coach at Berry College, a national championship contending program in Mount Berry, Georgia. Over the last 3 years, I'm not going to read it. Over the last 3 years, Coach and I have really developed a close relationship. I've called her many times, asking for advice, wanting her opinion, and I value that, and I appreciate that. Coach is a phenomenal person, and if you've been here for the few years, that's what we're trying to do here at the org. In the org and at this dinner is we're trying to help you realize that it is not just softball that we're trying to do for these young ladies. And I could not think of anybody better to come speak to us tonight than Coach Mills. So, Coach, if you'll come up, I appreciate it. I just want to thank you for everything over the years, and I really hope you'll enjoy what she has to say.
Testing my agility by saying that. I don't like a podium. I like to move around. Can I take the mic off? Is that too much of a hassle? Honestly, don't even need a microphone. I can shower. Well, people are watching, so I'll stand behind the mic. I'll stand behind the mic. Yeah. I'll stand behind the mic. Yeah, it's good. I'm being high maintenance. I'm being high maintenance. Well, did you turn it? Is it back on? There we go. First off, I just want to thank Curtis and the Knockouts organization for having me here this evening with y'all. It's always a privilege to come and speak to a group. I actually just had the opportunity to go and speak to a travel ball organization in Georgia, and that was actually one of my first times doing that. And you just leave refreshed and hopeful, and to learn about some of the futures of young ladies that are going on and playing. It's a lot of fun to hear. And before I get rocking, if you've ever doubted that these people are not invested in your daughters, in your families, in their future, and what's best for them, in those moments, just stop and think of nights like tonight, because not every organization does these types of things, and this is huge. For them to take a night and recognize you guys, parents, your daughters, and their success and all the hard work that they put in, that's huge. So always keep these kinds of nights and these things in the back of your minds. But before I rock on, who doesn't like free stuff and free t-shirts and that, except for the committed ones. But I guess if you want to wear them to practice and stuff, that's fine with me too. But I'm going to quiz you guys, okay? So nothing's for free ever. You got to answer some questions, okay? It's easy trivia here. Actually, I got a sub question for that. In the correct order, what are the schools that I coach at? In the correct order. Raise your hand. Yeah.
Northwestern, NC. I meant Northwestern, and then Greensboro, and then Berry College.
Should I give it to her?
Yeah.
It is. Should I give it to her? I'll give it to you. In NC Wesleyan.
Yeah.
Yeah. Here, throw that to Maddie. All right. I'll accept two answers to this question. In what city is Berry College located in? First time arm up. Yeah.
Wait, what city?
Yeah. What city? First hand up. I'll take two. Yeah.
Barry, Georgia.
Close. Who said it? I heard it. What was it? Yes, that is correct. You wanna? That'd be great. Thank you. All right. What is Berry College's logo, or our mascot, if you will? Yeah. All right. Let's see. How long? Because this is a sub question. Because I didn't preface with this. How long was I at Greens? Was my tenure at Greensboro
3
College?
years.
Boom! There you go. Everybody loves free stuff, and I like doing that. It gets you guys going. But it's funny. Curtis, the beginning of his little spill to the commits already kind of aligns with what I'm going to talk to you guys about. So thanks for my thank you. But when Curtis called me, gosh, I want to say it was, I guess, back in the summertime, and asked me if I would come speak. It was a no-brainer. Just like he said to you guys, we've gotten pretty close over the last few years, and I value his opinion just as much as he mentioned valuing mine, and I respect him in what he's done and continued. Coach Martinez's legacy with the knockouts is something to speak for. I mean, teams in Ohio, teams in Pennsylvania, the organization is expanding, and that's what you want to see. You don't want to see an organization shrinking, but it's always a really cool opportunity to come and speak to young women and their families, and just give it a different perspective, and hoping that you guys leave here and take something from what I talk about. But when he asked me, I went around the horn a little bit, and what can I talk about? What is important in this day and age with our youth, with our young women who are in the process of making their decisions, or just entering the process, or still on that line of toying where to go, what to do, what's right, what's not the right path. And well, that gave me my answer. Trusting the process and finding your fit, and that all correlates with each other one way or another. So that's what I'm going to share with you guys. And you're probably wondering or thinking to yourself, I've heard trust the process before. I've heard from this person, that person, the importance of finding your fit. And I'm looking at some of these ladies, and I listened to a bunch of these names, and I've seen majority of them play. I actively recruited several of them, got turned down by some of them, but hey, they found their fit, and everything happens for a reason, because had some of them chosen Greensboro, well, I wouldn't be there. So it's funny how things work out. And if there's one thing that I've learned over these last 4 months, is that the Lord's made your path long before you were ever even thought of. And, God, they say if you want to hear God laugh, just tell him what your plans are. So it's a true thing. But when it comes to trusting the process, I feel like sometimes that it's really easy for us to get lost in that, especially when we're trying to keep up with the Joneses, and our social media is just blowing up with who's doing this, who's doing that. They're going to this camp, they're going to that camp, they've gone to this visit, they have this offer. Right? It's impossible to avoid these days. Am I right, ladies? Where's my young ladies? It's impossible to avoid unless you don't have social media, and if you don't, kudos. But your journey, your process is yours, right? It's not anybody else's. And like I mentioned, I think it's just really easy to get caught up in other people's journey and lose focus in sight of your own. And that's what's really important, your own journey. And the journey is not meant to be stressful. And that's something that I hear a lot, is that I'm just so stressed. I don't really know what to do. My whole team's committed. I'm the only one left, or I feel like I'm getting too late in the process. I'm going to miss an opportunity. And it's just the opposite of that, always. And I think this whole little table right here, how old are you guys? Who's my youngest? Are you guys play knockouts? Who's my youngest? How old are you that won the bat? You're 10? Okay, so make sure you listen here, and take note with all these older girls in here too, all right? I actually forgot to mention something. Who 2026 is? Raise your hands. 27s and younger, raise your hand. So those and those. Okay. Mainly this is this whole spiel is catered to you guys. All right. But all these commits that are getting ready to go on and start their journey, all of these things that I mentioned there, it's going to trigger memories of things that they went through throughout their journey. And I'm sure that they'd be willing to share some of that with you guys. So, but anyway, everything about it, your focus should be on you and not comparison to someone else. And it's not a cliche when people say that comparison is a thief. It is that. It's going to take away your focus from what you have worked so hard to achieve and the place that you're supposed to end up at, and all the investing that your parents, your coaches have put into you. It's a distraction if you focus on someone else, right? So that's the important part, is focusing on your journey. And everybody's journey looks different. I can guarantee you that Courtney Cole's journey was not the same as Cam Perkins' journey. I can guarantee you that. It's all different, right? So never get lost in what isn't yours, all right? One of my favorite quotes is, "Be where your feet are," all right? And it's something that we pump into our girls at Berry on a daily basis, because it is difficult not to compare yourself to someone that plays the same position as you. And this is where I guess you ladies going off to college can relate here. When you get there and you start comparing yourself to a kid that plays the same position you, and maybe you had a really bad day and they had a really great day, you start thinking, "Oh crap, there goes an opportunity." No, that's not it. That's the journey. That's the process. And so we constantly just pump that into our girls, and it goes back, and it can work in multiple different ways. I'm going to give you 2 examples. I tend to learn best from examples and experiences, and I often find it easier for me to get my point across and to share my point of view from my experiences. And I'm going to give you two examples of 2 young ladies that we currently have on Berry's roster. And the first one is from an injury perspective. You know, we had a kid last year that fought an injury throughout the entire latter half of last year, came into the fall still fighting that same injury, and we finally got to a point where she said, "Man, Coach Mayer, I see a light at the end of the tunnel." Well, literally the day after she said that, I read a quote on Twitter that said, "The light at the end of the tunnel isn't actually a clearance. It's just another train getting ready to come and wreck everything else that you've pushed for to see that light." And literally 2 days later, she ripped her hamstring. And so it was super difficult to get through together, but the whole time, we just kept reminding her, "Look, you didn't come back from your shoulder injury for nothing. Things happen. Let's try to find the joy in each and every day, each moment, instead of focusing on what happened and the end result." So looking all the way to the end. And so we just pumped her every day with one thing at a time. You will recover. This isn't the end of the world. It's just being tested, and God gives his battles to his biggest fighters, and we just continue to work towards healing her. And even on the bad days, which she did have bad days, she had days where she couldn't do anything at all, couldn't even do a rehab. Those were her hard days because she wanted to be a part, and she's an everydayer for us. She's a gamer. She's going to start every game. So it was really hard for her to stand back and not be a part of things in any way, shape, form, or fashion. But on the hard days, we had to pump in her even more just to focus on the joyous moments, whatever that may be. She's out on the field. She's gotten to be with the team. That's something to be thankful for, not focusing on my hamstring shot. I can't do anything. So the negativity piece, taking that completely out of the equation and trusting that in due time, she was going to work her way back. The second one is from an ability perspective. And when we got there in August, we had a junior kid come to us who's been fighting for a spot since her freshman year. And she just shared with us that she has been struggling with her swing and could never really get the help that she needed, and nothing really ever clicked. And so after the first couple of weeks and watching her swing and seeing her hit live and all that stuff, we called her in for a meeting, and we said, "We want to revamp your swing entirely." And you could see on her face, like, oh my gosh, obviously that was a shock because she's only known that way for, however many years. She had 2 options. She could have said, "Absolutely not. It's not that broken. I'll figure it out." or option two, yeah, let's do it. And she chose option two. And she has bought in entirely to what we wanted to do with her. And when I say we, I'm referring to my assistant, Rebecca. And she's absolutely crushed it. I actually got a video on the way up here, and she's been focusing on her inside pitch, and it just looks completely different. And we're just stoked to see how she produces for us in the spring. So all that while, she had many, many setbacks, and she went back to her old ways. She had really bad days where if we did live pitching, where she couldn't hit a beach ball if it was served at her, swinging at horrible pitches, just struggling to see the ball. She usually could have given up and reverted back, never did. She stayed the course. She trusted every part of the process. And she just looks like a completely different kid. And you're probably asking yourself, well, why are you telling me those stories? Again, like I prefaced with, your recruiting journey from the time you're 10 to the time you're 18 and getting ready to go to college, it's yours. And things are going to happen along the way. Curtis said it. Even when you get to college, you're going to have bumps and bruises. You're going to face trials. You're going to have great days. But all the while, even when you face those tough moments, try to find the joy somewhere, because there is some somewhere. And just be thankful for all the opportunities that you're given each and every day. And it leads me into trusting you when it comes to trusting the process and your journey that you're going to take all the years. How important it is to find the right fit for you. And when I was thinking of, well, what does it mean to find your fit? I was thinking about all these boxes that we could check. And some of you could probably name some: school size, location of it, all that stuff. But I had a nostalgic moment, and I reverted back to my personal journey. And I got to thinking, I was like, man, I was really narrow-minded as an 18-year-old. My mom used to joke with me all the time, one day when you're 26 and your frontal lobe develops, you'll understand a lot more of what I was telling you. So now I do. And I think I tell my mom she's right or was right, or I should have listened more times than I can count. So all of you kids out there, you're going to tell your mom the same thing one day, I promise. But anyway, I love sharing my story through experiences. So I want to share you mine briefly. I'm not going to keep you here all night. But growing up, I was gung-ho that I was going to play basketball in college, not softball. Basketball was my first love. Softball was still a love, but basketball was a little bit higher on the list growing up. And I never played on a travel ball softball team. I always filled in when people needed help because I was too busy playing AAU. But on the open weekends, I was playing softball somewhere, especially in the summer. So I kept my parents busy and I made them broke. But super appreciative. So with that being said, I went on four total visits to colleges. All right. I had this list of colleges. My mom was a really big part of my process. Dad just told me to go and do what I wanted to do. He'd be proud of me either way. But mom, she, with a business mind and her having a very, very reputable college degree, she valued us making sure we found exactly where we were meant to go. So she had me put a list down, and I put all these crazy colleges on there to start with. And she was like, no, that's not going to work. We can go there. We can go for a visit, but you're not, once we get out of the car, you're not going to want to go that far, or all these other reasons. And then she started testing me, like, what makes this place realistic? Why this place? And the four that I narrowed it down to, and I went on visits to all four: Catawba, Wingate, High Point University, because she wanted me to have a school in there that was just for school. She went to High Point University, and it's an unbelievable place. So I was like, High Point, whatever. And then came NC Wesleyan really, really late, and I'll get to that. But Catawba was number one because we had family members that went there. I did have an offer to play basketball there. I was going to get a very good athletic and academic package. It was close to home. I liked the coach. I liked the girls. Small town Salisbury, small enough, but big enough to Charlotte and close enough to home. I had the best of all worlds. It checked all my boxes. So for a really long time, it was Catawba and Catawba only. And my mind was so narrow, and that's the only thing that I saw was I was going to be an Indian one day. All right, that's the only thing I saw. Then came Wingate. Came across me at an AAU tournament. Never went for an official visit, just went on a visit through admissions, did speak with the coach, watched him play, met a couple of the girls, but it wasn't like my visit that I had with Catawba. My conversation with the coach was, and And this was a box that I never thought I would have to add or take away. But the conversation was, well, where we see you is as a point guard. And I was like, I've never played that position in my life. Only when I needed to for emergency. I was a shooting guard and a small forward. And for those that need numbers, I was a 2, 3, or 4. So point guard was out of the equation. I'm not fast. My ball handling skills were average. I was better off the screen or off the dribble, and I could pull up a jump shot pretty well. So that was it. Couldn't jump, couldn't defend. So, they didn't want me as a point guard. Then I did the high point route. All right, checked all the boxes with the exception of, it didn't have basketball or even softball. It just wasn't going to be an option. Towards the end of my junior year, it was actually the last 3 weeks of high school ball season. It was on into playoffs as well. Here comes Coach Brackett. All right, and for those that know Coach Brackett, you can't miss him. He's about 6'6". Back then, he wasn't salt and pepper. He was all pepper. But you can't miss a 6'6" guy. And I actually had a high school teammate go and play at NC Wesleyan, and I didn't know anything about him. I didn't even know he was coming to the game. He came up and approached me after the game, talked with me, shared a little bit about himself and NC Wesleyan. I was like, okay, that's cool. Thank you for coming. And then he came back literally the next week. We talked a little bit more, and he invited me on a visit. So obviously my mom, being invested in my future, she goes, we're going to look this place up and we're going to do some legitimate research. And I was like, I'm not going there. I'm going to Catawba. I'm going to go play basketball at Catawba. There's no need, Mom. Well, we sat down anyway and we looked some stuff up. And at that time, when he came to my second game, I was unaware, and even going into my visit was unaware that he coached both. That's the ignorance in an 18-year-old, you guys. I was unaware that he coached basketball, or the lack of my research, basketball and softball. He was the head coach for both. So I get there on my visit, and before I even met with Coach Brackett, when we were pulling on campus, it's a real thing, you guys, and I'm sure the ones that are committed felt this feeling before. It's an indescribable feeling. You can't describe it. It's a warm, fuzzy feeling that comes over you. You get a little tingling sensation. You're like, man, this is where I'm supposed to be. Hadn't even gone on my visit yet. Hadn't even said hello to Coach Brackett when I pulled up on campus. We were in the parking spot, and me and Mom and Dad were talking, and I got quiet for a second, and I go, Mom and Dad, I think this is going to be it. And Dad starts laughing. He goes, all you did was gripe the whole trip and say this was a waste of our time. And Mom sat there silently knowing that we should have come on this visit. Moms are always right. Moms are always right. And, I was like, Mom, you're not going to say that? She goes, no, we'll see. Let's just do this visit. Let's not jump to conclusions or anything. So when we got on the visit and we're talking to Coach Brackett, that's when I did find out that he was the head coach for the women's basketball team and the softball team. And that's when he offered me a spot for both, a box that I'd never even considered, right? Two of my loves, basketball being a first, softball being that really, really close first. Never figured I would have an opportunity like that. And I share this story with you because had I not gone on that visit to NC Wesleyan, had I not given it a chance, I know for a fact I wouldn't be standing in front of you today. Lord knows where I would be, probably selling, some sports merchandise somewhere or something like that, or being a teacher, which God bless any of you if you are. But when I think of finding a fit, right, I'm going to ask this question. It might be random. Who wears different sizes in different shoes or jeans? Like different brands. Like if you're wearing like a Levi's compared to your like buckle jean, it's completely different. Your Nike shoes, on my free runs, I got to go a whole size up because they're narrow. On my Pegasus, I got to go down a half size because they're just right. So just because Catawba checked all my boxes didn't mean somewhere else didn't also check all my boxes, and didn't mean that I shouldn't go give it a chance. Who knows if there's one more box somewhere that you may add that you never thought that you were going to have to add or wanted to add for that matter. That's the cool part about going on visits. All right, and that's going to lead me into how you find your fit essentially. Go on the visits. If the coach invites you on a visit and you do the research, and there's even a couple boxes that you may check just from simply doing your research, or you knew of a teammate a couple years ago that went and played for there and they had a good experience. You may have your heart set on this one place, but there's always a chance that this other place that you weren't thinking of in the first place may check just one extra box that may seal the deal. Again, everybody's journey is different. That's why I prefaced with your process and your journey. Everybody's journey looks different. And I'm not going to stand up here and tell you the way your journey should go. All right, that's not what this is about. Again, this is just examples, but I think to my Nike shoes. You know, just because one shoe fits one way doesn't mean the other shoe won't fit a little bit differently, but maybe even fit a little bit better, or so on and so forth. So that's why I use that comparison. But when you think of finding your fit in the boxes that you got to check, I'm going to put the commits on the spot. The ones that are committed, a box that was checked for you when you chose your school, shout it out. These should be real easy. A box that was checked for you. What made you say yes? Pitching and hitting. So you could do both. Great. So your role on the team. Wonderful. Another one. There's say it again? Academics. It's huge. I want 5. This should be real easy. Why'd you choose where you're going? Location. Vivian, you're shut off.
Small school.
Small school. One more.
Class sizes.
Very good. Thank you. Class size. Methodist, right? I'll tell Coach Alex you took initiative. Very good. So yeah, those are all boxes. And I have many of those listed. All right, many of those listed. But another one that a couple others that from maybe a parent perspective, or things that maybe you guys didn't think about or don't think about, acceptance to graduation rate. If those are pretty close, that means that they're probably super invested in those academics. That also means that they retain really well. Tuition and scholarships from a Division II perspective, right? Are you going to get enough athletic, or Division I or NAIA or JUCO? Are you going to get enough athletically and academically to cover the cost? If it's a Division III, is your GPA good enough to where it's going to cover everything for you? Something that, yes, is thought about, but is it really thought about, and is the math done there? And sometimes parents, good for you parents, say, you go where you want to go, we'll make it work. I was fortunate enough to have those kinds of parents. And so if that's not a box, good. Another thing that I never really thought to consider until I got where I am, and I think that's just in my growth of being in this profession, but what's the mission and what does the institution as a whole value? Are they taking strides forward? Are they growing and taking steps forward in the academic part? Are new buildings being put up? Are renovations been happening and parents, some of you may look at this, especially for you financial minds, but what's the endowment? Is this school going to be out and about for a really long time? Just some things that really and truly until now, when I got to Berry, I never really thought about. And it's simply because I love our mission at Berry and what we represent, because it's lived throughout campus. But, I challenge you when you are making your list to first start your boxes with the institution. Yes, softball is very important. That is a big reason why you go to this institution. But what about the institution attracts you, right? Then that leads you into your softball boxes. And I'm sure all of you, right, can name all of these boxes that you thought of when you were choosing where you were going. Mm-hmm. Coaching staff, can you see yourself playing for those coaches, right? A big one for us, because it's something that we take pride in, and it's something that we value tremendously, and that's the team culture. Is that a place where you could see yourself fitting in? Do they represent your personal morals and values? Do they practice the things that you practice? Do they value the same things you do? Is it something that you grew up on, or is it, maybe 3 or 4 things match, but there's really this one thing that doesn't? But I think that's super important. We're a program that believes culture wins. So that's just something you got to ask yourself. Vivian spoke on it, but your role. And this is really big because it could be a challenging thing for a lot of people. And that's taking a step back and really seeing the reality of things. What kind of role do you want to carry on this team? Do you want to be an impactful player from the start? That's something that I wanted to be from the start, was an impactful player. Are you okay with fighting for a position with a junior that's moving into a senior when you're coming into wherever you're going? If you're cool with that, rock on. If you're a pitcher, are you okay being a number 2 or number 3 pitcher, or maybe coming in to close games, or coming in and throwing 1 or 2 innings just to throw the order off balance a little bit? All of those things are things that you need to consider, and could be separate boxes in a sense. Just like when Wingate told me I was going to have to play point guard, that was a heck no. So they moved down on my list quite a bit. So all things that you guys need to consider when you're narrowing your list down, when you're on your journey. Another one is what's the mission and values of that program? Does it align with the institution? Does it align with you? Does it align with you personally, your family, what you want to represent, how you want to be represented essentially? And then another one, it could matter to you or not. And all of these boxes are things that I literally came to my mind just like that. But does success matter to you? Are you okay being a part of a program that's 500? Do you want to be a part of a championship team and culture? Do you want to be on a team that a program that's up and coming and is building a good rep and all of these things? So those are all things to consider when choosing where you want to list your places or throughout your journey, and how do you find those things out? And it's not cliche. I know Curtis and Stuart, I know they pound, and Coach Martinez, I know that for a fact they pound these into your guys' head, but camps, and not just going to camps before a travel tournament, but going to the institution and going to the camp. Because first, you're going to see firsthand the coaching style. You're more than likely going to get a chance to talk to some of the current players, and if you do, that's a plus on your end because you really get a good taste of what it's like there. You get to see it from a different lens as well, not necessarily from a softball perspective, but from many others. And one of the other things that I really suggest, and I encourage all of our recruits to do because I just think it's so important, is come to watch one of our actual games, because then you get to see how we react as coaches in a stressful environment, how we get to interact with our players, how our players interact with each other in stressful environments, essentially how we treat each other. And Curtis touched on this as well, this goes back to the culture piece. It's first young lady, then it's softball player. And is that a culture? Is that something that you want to be a part of, or you're just being treated as a softball player and you want to win games, which is totally cool. Again, it's your journey. Nobody's going to knock you. It's yours, right? That's why it is yours. It's okay to be selfish in these things. I touched on it briefly before, how I hear a lot of young ladies starting their process or really getting into their junior year, talking about how the journey and the process and finding your fit essentially can be stressful. And I cannot reiterate enough that your journey should be enjoyable and you should have joy throughout the entire time that you're going through it. Yes, there's going to be stressors, of course, but not allowing that to take away and steal your joy from finding where you're supposed to go. The investment that your parents and these coaches and everybody in between has put into you is something that you shouldn't just toss to the side because you're stressed, or forget about, or tuck in your back pocket because you're stressed, or maybe you didn't get the offer from a school that you were really hoping you wanted to get the offer from. And knowing and keeping in your mind that there's already a plan made out for you, and trusting that, and you're going to end up exactly where you're meant to be, and you're going to have an opportunity of a lifetime. Not everybody gets to play ball in college. Let's just speak the truth. I mean, not everybody gets that opportunity, and to be able to find your fit, to go where you want to go, to play for the program that you want to play for, to end up at the school and get that degree from the institution that you want to get that degree from is huge. And so just if there's one thing I can leave y'all with today is always remember to try your best to be where your feet are. Don't jump to the end and the conclusion too much. Never take an opportunity for granted, and be thankful for the support that you have. And I wish these 2025s nothing but the best. We'll be seeing some of you in the very near future, and we're excited about that. But again, thank you guys for having me, and Curtis and Stuart and the Knockouts organization. I can't forget Kelly. Kelly sends so many emails out. I think I have 2 unread from her. Forgive me. But thank you so much for everything that you do for the sport, for these young ladies and their future, and investing every ounce of yourself into them. And as we like to say before we exit anything, Barry, softball is hook 'em Vikes. Thank you.
How to give Coach another round of applause, please. That is all for tonight. Thank you for coming. If you want cupcakes, ladies, I'm saying ladies because they beat all of you to the cupcakes. Get cupcakes if you want them on your way out. Don't forget the Remind app. If you don't have it, please download it. Stay in touch with us. Anything else? Coaches will be in touch with you for the seminar. The next recruiting seminar will be Saturday, January 25th at, I don't know what time, 12, 12:30, 1 o'clock, something like that. So we'll get that information to you. Anything else? Stuart, Ricky, coaches? If not, that is it. Thank y'all so much for coming. Please be safe going home. Thank you.